President Nicolas Maduro himself join the Bolivarian National Militia and defend Venezuela against a looming U.S. threat.
Estamos acá.
sources are referring to counter-narcotic operation.
Start to close out some of this position here.
The possibility of a military confrontation. I mean, a Venezuelan opposition leader that we'll hear from in today's video is talking about how great it would be for the U.S. to topple a few regimes in the region. And Russian media is actually floating the idea of sending long-range strike drones to Caracas so they could strike U.S. military bases in the region. So let's get into what we know so far. Starting out with some reporting here from Eric Schmidt at the New York Times, who said, quote, U.S. officials said that up to 3 guided missile destroyers would soon arrive in the region.
All right, I'm going to cover 2 of these contracts. I'm going to leave my stops just above for the other 2 contracts. As soon as we hit TP1, I'm going to look to close out here. We got TP1. Probably halfway between entry and TP1. I'll probably end up taking 1 or 2 contracts off. Oh, I just got close and break even. But I'll probably just end up taking a contract off if I still have any left. And then take the rest at TP1 or TP2. Just sort of trail my stops.
The naval warships will target boats operated by drug cartels transporting fentanyl to the United States. They have not yet said how they will do so. Also headed to the region is the Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group, including the USS San Antonio, the USS Iwo Jima, and the USS Fort Lauderdale, carrying 4,500 sailors, and the 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit with 2,200.
All right, that's the drop that we needed. Beautiful stuff. And just go ahead and either close out the full position or close out half. And then trail your stops. All right, you can put your stops slightly above the 88 because it's probably going to come back to retest it. So I'd probably put it, 5-10 points, give it some buffer above the 88. What a beautiful drop and what a beautiful entry, right? What a beautiful, beautiful move.
Marines. These ships and the Marines departed Norfolk, Virginia earlier this week, but had to turn around to avoid Hurricane Aaron. They're expected to head back out soon and are likely to arrive in the next several days. And this reporting itself was a couple days ago. They say several P-8 surveillance planes and a submarine are also deploying to the region. Now, a couple key notes there. Counter-narcotics operations are something that our Marines and our Navy can do. They are capable of doing this sort of stuff. We have a very flexible military. Our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are very capable of doing a wide range of tasks. That doesn't mean that it is primarily what they're trained in. Generally speaking,
the U.S. is deploying missile destroyers to the waters off Venezuela as part of President Trump's efforts to combat threats from Latin American drug cartels. The USS Gravely, the USS Jason Dunham, and the USS Samson are being sent out there right now, a Defense Department official confirming that the military assets have been assigned to the region in support of counter-narcotics efforts. The official told the Associated Press that the vessels would be deployed, quote, over the course of the next several months. The deployment of U.S. destroyers and personnel comes as Trump has pushed for using the U.S. military to fight those cartels that he blames for the flow of fentanyl and other drugs into American communities and for perpetuating violence in some U.S. cities. We're also seeing reaction from several lawmakers to all of this, including Florida Senator Ashley Moody, who says, "Thank you, POTUS, for making America safe again. The cartel in Venezuela is flooding our region with illicit narcotics that are making their way into our communities, but now we say no more. I was proud to stand with the sheriff and others to recognize National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day to fight this lethal fentanyl crisis together." I want to discuss exactly what all of this means, so let's bring in a friend of the show here, Matthew Wiz Buckley, former Navy FA-18 fighter pilot, a Top Gun graduate, and the founder of the No Fallen Heroes Foundation. Matthew, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Good seeing you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And
All right, make sure, if you are in the trade, that you're being smart. So personally, I've protected the trade. There's a very good chance that since we've already broken this previous high here from the pre-market open, that we're going to continue to the upside. So I've already taken what I wanted to take off the table, and I got kicked out in break even on the rest of the positions, and so now I'm out. All right, make sure that you guys aren't getting greedy. You're being smart. If you choose to re-enter, make sure that you're not risking all your profits. Like, take a small percentage and then risk that. So if you made, let's say $200, then you would take $50, let's say 25%, and that's what you would risk on the next trade. That way, no matter what happens on the next trade, you at least walk away with something. So it's a guaranteed way to, avoid giving back all the money. Food for thought. So it's not always about being right. It's not always about having the right direction or guessing, what the market's going to do exactly today. You can take a good entry, have a good scalp position. Managing the trade is like 90% of the game. Not overstaying your welcome, not giving back the money. So knowing how to manage your risk on every subsequent position. If you lost, then don't keep digging yourself into a hole. So, lower your risk on the next trade. So these are things that, I don't know, are probably more important than a technical strategy, but most people tend to ignore them. All right. So whether we're wrong or right about the direction today, still made money. If you're on the Zoom call here, let me know if you guys took the trade or not. Let me do a quick roll call.
And first off, I did want to ask you what kind of message the U.S. is trying to send by deploying these destroyers.
Well, Josh, it's a very clear message. This is a lot of sovereign U.S. territory off the coast of Venezuela and a lot of Marines and sailors. This is a message that says we're going to be serious. I mean, these drugs from Venezuela have killed more Americans than we've lost in combat in the past 20 years. All
right, so excuse my language here. This is the most retarded thing I've ever heard in my life. So first off, Venezuela accounts for about 25% of the world's cocaine exports. The majority of the fentanyl is being shipped. The precursors are being shipped from China, and the final product is being manufactured in Mexico or Canada. So I don't know what Venezuela has to do with this. Now, why is America sending 3,000 U.S. troops to aid in some kind of like militaristic overthrow and coup of the government, whether it's legitimate or not? It's kind of their problem. Until you realize that Venezuela is the most oil-rich country in the world. Venezuela has more oil than any other country in the world. So why are we getting involved in the overthrow of the Maduro regime in Venezuela? And Trump is supposed to be the peace president, no new wars, ending all the old wars, right? He wants to win a Nobel Peace Prize, sending 3,000 troops on a Navy destroyer ship to the coast of a country that's about to have some kind of revolution. What is this? So the only logical explanation I can come to is oil, right? And they're going to say that this is under the guise of preventing drugs from coming into the country and the fentanyl crisis. They're trying to link this to the fentanyl crisis. And that's why I'm making this deliberate point to say that Venezuela is not the biggest kind of threat when it comes to fentanyl imports into the U.S. Cocaine imports, different story. But I think they're just using that as an excuse. Anyways.
Cartels are terrorist organizations. The president has designated many.
Oh yeah, that's the second piece I saw, that Trump is trying to designate the cartels as terrorist organizations, which allows the use of force, like the use of the military. And you don't need to go to Congress because this is not a declaration of war. Because they're terrorists, you can have special military operations, which is basically like every war that we've had in the past 30 years. We haven't actually declared war. We haven't gone to Congress and gotten a unanimous vote. Instead, it's been a special military operation where the president can send troops I think up to 30 or I think it's like 30 or 90 days to any location in the world, and then he has to go ask Congress in order to prolong that occupation. But if it's a terrorist group and we're in the middle of combat, then they don't really need Congress's permission. Okay, so long story short, they're trying to designate them terrorists so that they don't really need to ask for permission to go in there and use military force. Oh, nice. Did anyone catch the second drop? I got in both buys and sells and closed out. Carlos, good stuff. You better be done for the day. George says, got in small play, but made 150. Awesome stuff. Dude, one trade at a time, George. Also, I'll see you later tonight for our coaching session.
Any of these cartels as terrorist organizations. That means technically, legally, he's allowed to strike. So this is a serious flex of American muscle, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
And as we do take a live look outside of the Capitol right here in D.C., the president there has responded by essentially rallying militia forces and projecting defiance, again, talking about Venezuela specifically after this announcement was made. How seriously should the U.S. and its allies take these domestic mobilizations there in Venezuela?
Well, Josh, I take him with a grain of salt. I saw the mobilization of about 4,000 folks. I mean, just even looking at these troops, so-called troops, makes me...
Oh, nice. What a drop. Damn. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Trades I Should Have Held. Welcome back to episode 5,986 of Damn Trades I Should Have Held. All right. We just hit the 88.6 on the buy side. Personally, I'm not going to give back any of the money. So I'm kind of just going to watch this go, especially with how aggressive bears came in. But this would be the 88.6. And then there's a lower 88.6 kind of down here. If you choose to scalp this, it'll be a scalp up to TP1 and cover. Cover meaning move your stops to profit. I would personally wait for the lower option right here. Oh, shit. Right there. Nope. That's the body. Not gonna lie, it's pretty attractive. It's pretty attractive. All right, well, there's the buys. TP1 just hit. Nice little rejection here for the scalp. So you would have to cover. It'll probably come back and retest a few more times. Personally, I would look at this range now. So the market has established a low and a high. Okay, so what you would do, market comes back up to retest the highs of the session, sells. Market comes back to retest the low of the session, buys. Make sense?
makes me chuckle. I mean, the Iwo Jima ARG Amphibious Ready Group has 22 Marines, and then the supplementary vessels, I think, has 2,200 supplementary vessels, has maybe another 2,000. So I stack up our nearly 4,500 Marines against Maduro's troops. And these are also special operations capable Marines in the 22nd MU. So these Marines are not to be messed with. So if we're going to do it tit for tat, I think my money's on the United States Marine Corps. But it's interesting, Josh, because the president, Maduro, has a $50 million bounty on his head, and Eric Prince, the founder of Blackwater, or whatever his new company is named, tweeted out recently. He said, "Well, that should be dead or alive." Pretty sure somebody like that.
Oh, that's a nice rejection now. Sheesh. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode today of trades I should have taken. All jokes. Done for the day, staying out. Good stuff. TP3 smashed. Good stuff, Bianca. Did anyone take the buys? Come on now. Insane. Buys and sells. Wow, look at that rejection right there. Insane. But I don't regret waiting for the bottom. Like if it does come all the way down to the bottom, like this is our range. We have a little micro range here. High. Low. And then we also have this larger range. All right, so retest the top of the range. We have sells. Retest the bottom of the range. We have buys. So I'd rather wait till it comes down here regardless. And if it doesn't, if it just breaks, then we look to retest the previous high of the range and sell it down. Beautiful stuff. Wow. Good stuff, George.
I could probably go make that happen. So it's way past time for the United States to take action against cartels that are killing people. It's heartbreaking, Josh. You see this on the news every day. A young teenager somewhere.
But kids dying in Gaza, man. And I understand the drug problem in America is a very serious deal. But let's be real. Venezuela is not the country. U.S. officials discuss Middle East tensions. Oh, God help us if Lindsey Graham is on TV. I'd rather eat my shoe. Marco Rubio, U.S. preparing to invade Venezuela over Russia, China, Iran influence. APT. Dude, why can't I find like good news sources for fuck's sake? Let's go. I'm trying to find Trump and Venezuela news. General Keane warns Trump will have a tough decision to make. Okay, what the fuck kind of caption is that? Like, let me read this caption. This is what went through my head. General Keane, right? So they got a general because it always sounds good when you have a correspondent who's a general, even though they could be a complete dipshit. Warns Trump will have a tough decision to make if Russia and Ukraine talks stall. So, like, yeah, if shit doesn't work out and the negotiations that we put forth, like, just completely fall through, Trump is going to have some hard choices. Like, yeah, that's the whole fucking point. That's why he hasn't ended the war in 24 hours, like he said, because this is a complicated thing. He's going to have some tough decisions. Nobel Prize for these people. All right. Carjacking suspect. No one cares. Is the U.S. ready to attack and invade Venezuela? The Navy Channel. Please, the Navy Channel, don't disappoint. NASDAQ,
Imagine
beautiful rejection. Wow.
Healthy submarine and a fleet of amphibious ships.
Yo, look at this rejection. Something to behold.
Moving toward the Caribbean waters near Venezuela. Add thousands of highly trained Marines and advanced aircraft monitoring the skies and seas. And you have a naval operation that captures attention worldwide. Today, we break down what's happening, why it matters, and the incredible...
That means no trading until You fill out that form.
technology
No trades.
behind this U.S. Navy deployment. Tensions in the Caribbean have escalated as the U.S. deploys a significant naval presence near Venezuela. While official statements emphasize operations in international waters, the message is clear. The United States is signaling readiness and strategic control.